So what's up, everybody? On my way. It's about 8:22 in the morning. On my way to work. Got to pull it in, man. My wife's sick, so I had to take off yesterday. Not sure how long I'll even be at work today, but nonetheless, we're gonna go do it. Just want to talk about something right quick. Talk about bad leadership. You know, bad leadership is kind of like a toothache. You know what I mean? What it does is you can deal with it for a long period of time. You know, just like a minor toothache. At least I can. I have a high tolerance for pain, so you know, at least I can. Or so we'll use me as the reference point. But nonetheless, a toothache will nag at you, and then all of a sudden it just boom, just jumps out, and now it's the worst thing ever. And that's what bad leadership is like. Bad leadership is just like that, man. You can deal with it for long periods of time, then all of a sudden it's just mind-wrecking. You know, it's impossible to be successful with bad leadership. You know, I remember hearing LeBron James say something about Mike Krzyzewski, whatever his name is, Coach K. How about that? Krzyzewski. But he said something that made a lot of sense that kind of blew me away. Let me know the caliber of dude this cat was. But he said that with even how good they were, with all those great players on that team, him, Dwayne Wade, Kobe, I think Derrick Rose was on the squad. You know, all those cats on that team. He said it was Coach K's leadership that got us through it all. And that made a lot of sense to me and blew me away, because you're talking about some great athletes. You know, these guys are at the top of their game. Carmelo as well. But he was saying that it takes, even with all those parts, it takes somebody to sit there and guide, you know, and put the pieces in the right places. And when you don't have good leadership, you don't find those places. Good leadership actually dismantles. It brings morale down. And I'm not a big fan of, you know, once your morale is going, that's a military thing. You know, military does that. They're big on keeping morale up. I'm like this. You give me a check, I'm fine. I can deal with my own morale. But when you talk about a team, if the team's morale goes down, your team becomes ineffective, and when leadership doesn't see that, now we have a bigger problem, a bigger issue. You know what I mean? And it's a sad commentary that I'm finding that it's hard to find good leadership. Because understand this, once you find good leadership, for lack of a better term, you will submit to that leadership because you trust what they say. But when you don't trust what leadership says, you're not going to follow what they say, man. Because at the end of the day, you don't feel that they have your best interest in mind. I'm big on a good leader will do whatever it takes for you to be successful, as long as you're right. Now if you're some herky-jerk kind of cat that doesn't want to work and wants to be lazy, I'm not talking about those type of people, but I'm talking about a person who's, you know, willing to do what it takes to be successful and to be great at their job, or willing to just do the job. I'm talking about leadership should stand up for them. What we find most of the time is leadership that's in it for self, and to me, that's not leadership, man. That's something else. That's greed, run amok. That's what happens when you take American thoughts and try to put them upon everybody. It's capitalistic BS we do here. I won't get into that, but always out for self. You know, that's why you look at that picture of the crabs in a barrel, and they think, well, the crab trying to pull that other crab down. But my main man, A-Love, said like this, bro. He said that's the crab trying to help the other crab out. Why? Because when you look at it from a community-oriented type space, our view is different because we don't think everybody trying to get everybody else. Once again, now I'm not naive either, but I can't change the minds of a mass until I start changing my own mind and those in my concentric circle. You know what I mean? But bad leadership, though, can destroy everything at the drop of a dime. Because bad leadership is just straight up whack. So, I heard this guy say it like this. He said, you can't empower people that you're not aligned with. Bad leadership never wants to align. They just want to rule and govern. They don't want to align themselves with those who they are working with or working among. It's amazing. The scriptures are very serious about when it talks about working with people who you're amongst. It says, know those whom you labor among. And this was something that was said in the Gospels. And Jesus was trying to make a point that, yo, everybody kind of foul, you know what I mean? Everybody got some fallibility, if you want to say it like that. But he knew those cats, those 12 dudes that was with him, he knew those. So, at the end of the day, when the rubber hits the road, he understood that, yo, these cats have a greater purpose in mind. And you notice that he always aligned himself with his troops. He never tried to stand above them. He was never beneath them. He was always rocking with them, kind of, you know, in the thick of things, in the mix of things. If you remember, when they got into the one particular area, and Jesus was like, yo, I'm gonna wash you guys' feet, man. And it was like, yo, Peter was like, yo, you're not gonna wash. I believe it was Peter. It was like, yo, you're not washing my feet, man. You're the Messiah, dude. How you gonna come and just wash my feet? And Yahushua was like, yo, if I can't wash your feet, you can't roll with me, right? Peter said, yo, just come and wash my feet and my head, the whole nine. Because one thing Jesus understood was that, yo, you always have to be able to serve those who you even lead. Dr. Cornel West says you can't save those whom you don't serve, and you can't lead people you don't love. It's an awesome statement, man. So we got these leaders out here that's whack. And sometimes when you're dealing with bad leadership, you know what you have to do? You have to go into self-preservation mode. Especially when you're going on these jobs that you really don't like. You just going because, hey, you understand responsibility. You got to go ahead and keep your mouth closed, stay under the radar, and do what you do. As my mother always say, you have to do what you have to do until you can do what you can do. Or excuse me, you have to do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. And that's kind of sometimes what type of place that I'm in. Leadership, man. I gotta deal with it. You have to deal with it. But here's the one thing we can do, and I had to learn this, and I learned this lesson here probably in the last 3 or 4 months, is that if you have a problem with leadership, then know what you need to do? You need to become the leader. I was too busy just trying to work, man, because I didn't want the responsibilities of leadership. Because I've been there, man, and sometimes that can just be a hassle. So with that said, I have to be mindful of myself that, you know, some of these cats ain't equipped for leadership. So, but they might be under the learning curve as well. But nonetheless, my goal now is to get back into leadership so I don't have to take this mess and show people how to lead. You know, as a servant, be a servant leader. Don't try to govern and rule with a firm fist, even though that's needed at times, but not all the time, you know what I mean? Nonetheless, man,